The trail was clearly marked when I entered the forest. A wooden sign stood at the entrance, carved with faded letters warning hikers to stay on the path. I remember feeling relieved. I had gotten lost once before in another forest, and I promised myself it wouldn't happen again. This time, I followed the rules. I stayed on the trail, I paid attention. That's why it didn't make sense when the path brought me back to the same place. After walking for nearly 20 minutes, I stepped over a familiar fallen log and stopped cold. The sign was there again. Same cracked wood, same crooked arrow. Even the scratch I'd noticed earlier, shaped like a lightning bolt, was still there. I turned around, heart racing, convinced I had made a wrong turn. But the path behind me looked exactly the same as the one ahead. I laughed nervously and told myself forests can look similar. Trees repeat, dirt repeats, fear makes patterns where there are none. I kept walking. The second time I reached the sign, the sun was lower. The air felt heavier, thicker, as if the forest was holding its breath. My phone showed no signal. The compass app spun uselessly, unable to settle on a direction. That's when I noticed something new. Footprints. My footprints. They led past the sign and deeper into the woods. I hadn't walked that far yet. A low sound drifted through the trees, not quite wind, not quite a voice. It felt like the forest was whispering, but I couldn't understand the words. I called out. The sound answered back. Not an echo, a delay, like something was repeating me, but slower. Panic began to creep in. I tried to run, but the path never changed. Same stones, same bent tree, same patch of moss shaped like a hand reaching out of the ground. Each loop took less time. Soon, I reached the sign after only a few minutes of walking, then seconds. With every return, something small was different. A new crack in the wood, a fresh footprint beside mine, a tree slightly closer to the path than before. The forest was adjusting. I screamed for help. The forest screamed back. My voice returned from the trees, distorted, stretched thin as if dragged through thorns. It said my name wrong. That was when I saw the man. He stood just off the path, partially hidden behind a tree. His clothes were torn, his face pale and hollow-eyed. "Don't leave the path," he whispered urgently. "I can't," I cried. "It keeps looping." He nodded slowly. "It always does. How do I get out?" I asked. "You don't," he said. "You only last." Before I could ask what he meant, the forest went silent. The man faded backward into the trees, his outline blurring like a bad memory. The path looped again. Time stopped making sense. My watch froze at 3:17 p.m. Hunger and thirst came in waves, then stopped entirely. I couldn't tell if hours or days were passing. I started seeing things. People standing between the trees, watching. Some looked like hikers. Others looked unfinished. Their faces blurred, their movements stiff like copies made from memory. They all followed the path. All of them ignored me. On one loop, I noticed something carved into a tree beside the sign. "Help me." Below it, dozens of names scratched into the bark. One of them was mine. I hadn't carved it. Yet, the forest began to repeat more than the path. It repeated sounds, movements, fear. I tripped on a root and fell hard. On the next loop, the root wasn't there, but my pain was. The bruise appeared before I fell. The forest was remembering me, learning me. On the next loop, I saw myself ahead on the path. Same clothes, same terrified expression. I called out. The other me didn't respond. It kept walking, repeating my steps perfectly, like a recording. I understood then. The forest doesn't trap you, it copies you. Each loop leaves a version behind, a little less human, a little more hollow. Eventually, there are enough copies to replace you. On what I believe was my last loop, the trees leaned inward, closing the path behind me. The sign was gone. Only the path remained, endless, familiar. I don't know how long I've been walking now. I don't feel tired anymore. Sometimes I hear footsteps behind, perfectly matching my pace. Sometimes I hear someone new enter the forest. When they do, the path resets, and I start again.